and welcome to the Must Play podcast. I'm back after 2 weeks incognito, joining the boys who've been keeping this ship afloat. How are you, gents?
Yeah, pretty good. So excited to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you can't tell by our row of t-shirts...
This wasn't planned, by the way.
And all the stuff.
No discussion needed to be had. We were always going to be as prepared as we needed for this because it's been a massive week. Not only did we get The Mandalorian, but the new video game, Jedi Fallen Order, has been out for about 6 days now. Jules and I have finished it because we have nothing better to do with our lives.
This was very worth it.
Dave, how far are you?
I'm just past Kashyyyk. I'm not that far into
Okay.
it, but I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, you're lucky you've got so much good stuff
I
left
know
to
that's
go.
what Jules said before.
Look, we want to talk about everything to do with films, gaming, video, tech as well. So make sure you join us in the comments and let us know what you're watching and playing this week. We are going to kick it off with that PlayStation 4 title we have all been playing. It's also on the Xbox One and PC, but at the moment I think we're all PlayStationers, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Jedi Fallen Order. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't get our PlayStation working just yet, so we're going to have to use some of the footage from the EA Play demo. But Fish, given that you're the least progressed,
I
can't
haven't
even speak.
finished it.
You haven't finished
Yes,
it.
yes.
Let's start with your opinions first.
Yeah.
You're probably about 5 hours in, so
Yeah.
so what are you thinking?
Well, straight up, I was like, this is the game we've been waiting for, right? We get to be a kick-ass Jedi.
Oh, it's cool.
And it's story-based. Like, I did like the campaign in Battlefront 2, but this is giving us... This is what we've been asking for. And honestly, it just feels like you're playing a Star Wars movie and participating in it. And I, as far as I've got was pretty much in the first hit. I played a good 4 hours straight when I first played it, and I was addicted to it. I'm not much of a Dark Souls sort of guy though, so I didn't realize it was going to be so bloody hard.
What difficulty did you...
Only on the normal, I'm
Yeah,
just
same.
on the regular Jedi Knight or
I'm
whatever.
no
it is.
Grandmaster.
And I'm getting my butt kicked by goats and these just everyone except the stormtroopers. They're really weak, and I love slashing them.
There's nothing more satisfying than deflecting a laser ball back to
Oh
the
man! But I have to say, one of the best experiences I've had in any video game is when you first unsheath that lightsaber. Man, that was cool. You get a bunch of stormtroopers rock up, and then it's just like whoosh, and you get to kill them. It's so good.
There is something wildly cathartic about wielding a lightsaber.
It really
Even when it's not
is.
you, it's just your virtual you. I have absolutely loved the game. I think initially, because I played it so much when it first came out, before the day one update actually initially was available, I was wondering, geez, am I going to be plagued by bugs? Because I was getting a lot of freezing. My PS4 even crashed at one point. But as soon as I downloaded that update, it was smooth for me for the rest of the time, and that's on the base level PS4, so I was able to just really enjoy the game, which is what I want to hear about from you, Jules, being our resident Star Wars nerd, for lack of a better word. Are you happy with where they took this story, if we just focus on the actual story?
Yeah, I am, and I'm really disappointed that I've finished it so quickly. Because although I've still got... There's stuff to do when you finish the game.
Yeah.
That's not a spoiler to say. Each level has so many more secrets to unlock and explore. If you just powered through it and followed the story, you would miss so much. And it's not just, you find a new costume or whatever. It's more story to find. So,
oh, okay, right. Are you
Are you
talking about
through
within
the secrets and the...
Force Echoes?
Yeah, the
and-
Force Echoes.
Force Echoes
Yeah.
and all that.
Look, I really enjoyed the story. I think... one of the reasons why I'm so thrilled about The Mandalorian, and we'll get to that, is that it's not set in between episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Every single spin-off in Star
Yeah.
Wars history seems to be set between episodes 3 and 4. This one is again. We get to follow this man, who is Cal Kestis. And just in terms of his character, how did you think he played? Obviously, you've got to be a bit bland when you're a playable character, because you want the player to
I
impart
did
their
think
personality.
bland, but it's acceptable because essentially it's you.
Yeah,
and you
you're
wouldn't want
supposed
him portraying someone where you don't share the same thoughts or views on certain things. So he's kind of... It holds back a bit there.
But saying that, it's not like he's cardboard, right? The
No.
guy's it's a real actor. He's a fantastic actor, and I think just I get more into it the relationships with him and the droid.
BD1 is seriously I'm obsessed.
I
I think
mean,
he
I like
might- he's up
BD1
there.
more than Cal.
yeah, well, absolutely. It's like every time they bring out a new droid, I'm like, you know, I'm not going to like this one better than R2D2. And then BB-8 comes out. Oh, I'm not going to like it better than BB-8. And then this guy comes out. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. They're all awesome.
It's incredible how much they can put into a droid that doesn't actually speak. And
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
different their personalities are compared to R2D2 and I don't know if you guys have watched Star Wars Rebels, but Chopper is a droid in that, and the
No.
personalities between these droids are so different. BD1 just seems like he'd just be your best bud.
Yeah, totally.
And he really is the one driving a lot of the story. I mean, we won't spoil anything, but it's really his connection to Jedi's
Absolutely.
past that drives you and really guides you initially, and then he becomes a bit more of a companion, and you level him up as well. If anything, if there's one thing I wish that they had done a little bit more of, it's given BD1 a bit more to do in the combat. I feel like, you know, as he's a pretty mobile little droid, and he does get some abilities a little bit later on.
Splice droids and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
but
nothing
I still think that it would have been great if he, you know, could hover above and, you know, take down a droid from afar or something like that. The combat, given that we're watching some of it, Fish, you already mentioned how tough it is. It is very Dark Souls-like in its combat. Jules, did you struggle
Yep,
at all?
I did.
Can I ask you real quick about that final fight, again, without saying anything? Because like many final bosses in any sort of single-player game, it does sort of follow a very linear path, and you've got to check the boxes, and you've got to make that jump, and you've got to do that thing, and if you don't do it, it sort of just like holds all the momentum, and you know, you got to redo it. I think I stuffed up that platforming section.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? Like
do.
20 times in a row. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? I'm just
No.
completely ruining the momentum of
Really?
this story.
I did it first go.
Oh, all right.
But saying, actually, a good point on the platforming stuff, I found that was probably the hardest part of the game, not because it was hard, but it was a little glitchy to me in some ways. Like, especially there's some bits where you're like sliding and you just got to time that jump at the right time, and it's literally, if you're out by a pixel, you ain't making that. And
Especially when you need to jump for a rope and not a wall.
And you can't, you just can't angle it right and stuff. I found that really frustrating. Like, getting my butt kicked by some bad guys because I'm not really good at fighting is one thing, because I know I can get better at that. But I just found it was a little frustrating with the platforming. But I'm just really bad at parrying. It's just not. I can dodge, but parrying
The
is
skill.
like.
I admit I got better the more I played. But that final fight, and I had 8 stems, and I used them all.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Stems, yeah.
Absolutely. That was not an easy final fight. And I don't know, have you gotten up to the part where you reveal the villain at all, Fish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you seen of the villain?
I don't want to spoil it.
No, well-
like taken the mask has come off.
Okay,
I know
good.
what it is. Yeah.
Can I just say, it is so refreshing to have an Indian villain.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
well, I feel like
Yeah,
that's
so-
not. I mean,
I didn't even see the race.
Oh, well, you don't have to
Yeah,
point
true.
it out
Yeah, no,
because
true.
it's not even a part of. It's not mentioned. It's
No,
not, you know.
there's no cultural significance to it. It just is.
Yeah, but it's just. I really found that a bit refreshing, because Star Wars is really trying to push into that multicultural aspect.
Very much so, yeah.
And I quite liked it. I thought she was a great actress as well. I'm not too sure who she is in real life, but I thought she did a really good job in the role. In terms of where you'd rank it, Jules. I mean, as a video game, it's undeniably probably the best Star Wars video game we've ever had, hands down. With the exception of maybe Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2. I think
Very different games, though.
very different games. But you got to be happy with this.
I'm very happy. As I said, I only wish there was more, and it's a shame that they're not putting anything out to it. And it kind of, I won't say, but the ending isn't the end, if that makes sense.
No,
So-
well, it was never. They never are going to shut this off straight away. Obviously, although I kind of was hoping, with where the story went, that they would make that bold decision and just make another new game if they were going to. Because why not?
Well, I'd be really keen to see how this goes in terms of sales, and if it's really made EA and other game developers who were banking on multiplayer for the rest of gaming's existence to really take a step back and go, wait, single player story driven titles are actually selling really good and
Yeah.
people are happy,
I
and this is
think
what they want.
What are we getting like review wise for this? I haven't really looked it up because I don't want any spoilers. But like, is it reviewing
Solid
well?
reviews.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
around
like
the
this
board.
is
I
between
haven't
eights and nines.
Yeah.
There's very little below an 8, and I feel like a lot of the initial reviews were hammering it because of its technical issues,
Mm.
which in my playthrough were relieved once I had the update.
I
Yeah,
still
I
found a
did.
drop of frame rate in a few levels.
Oh, of course, but it wasn't to the point where it was loading for
Unplayable.
7 seconds or, completely crashing on me.
I will say though, I don't know if it has been fixed since I last played it, which was a couple of days ago. But the loading time between deaths when you're respawning is super long. It's like
It's massive.
outrageously long. Like you were talking about the prequel comics to this last week, and I've actually been reading a couple of pages of the
While you're waiting
prequel
for
comic
it to
while it's loading. So I'm still in the world, but I'm like,
I was having
so long.
no issue getting up, going to the bathroom, and coming back.
didn't you make a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Make it right. I remember you telling me that. I was like,
Like, it genuinely does take forever, and when you die 10 times against the final boss, it will be incredibly frustrating.
frustrating. And for a game like this, I feel you need to have that, what I call the Celeste effect, where you just immediately start again, because it is so frustrating. And the way that this is designed is that you kind of have to go through parts of the level. It's not like you just fight one guy then start there again. Like, you got to go through bits and pieces to take on bits, like all the bad guys, and you get to that last one just before the next save point and he kills you, and it's like
and you try and run through everyone. You're like, no, I'm not killing all these guys
Yeah.
again. I'm going to run back because I want my XP from that guy that killed me.
yeah, that's the thing.
I'm not
'Cause if
wasting all
someone
my
kills
time,
you, right?
and then you just get flanked.
yeah.
I must say, if there's one thing I found a little bit annoying in that regard, it's that the levels, and I want to ask you about level design, because it's sort of it is very linear, and when I say that, I mean it's linear.
Yeah.
There are multiple branching paths,
They all
but
get to the same point.
a lot of the time they're only really designed for you to go one way as well. And this is where I ran into a few issues when I was going back and trying to find a few secrets or whatever it was. I don't think they're particularly well designed levels for exploration,
Not for exploration.
especially when you try to get back to a tomb. Once you've finished the game, you still don't have fast travel. So that is one thing that really annoys me, to have been able to just quickly, and by quickly with the 3-minute load time in between.
Like Zepho being on the whole other side of Zepho and trying to get back to his ship.
And let's be honest, sometimes to get back to the ship, there's only 2 ways of doing it. And if you're on that other side of the map, you've got to get to a certain point over here before you can get over there. And it's an exhaustive 15-minute process sometimes.
And I always
they-
find myself getting sidetracked and getting being like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah. They generally do open up shortcuts though, right? So they generally
It gets
Like the
easier.
way,
Yeah.
like saying that it's linear is definitely it, because when I first opened up the Hollow map, I was like, oh dear God, this looks so complicated, and how am I going to find the way that I need to go and stuff? Because I'm not really an explorer. Like I love linear games, and I love just getting through the story, and but when I saw that, I kind of got a bit worried. I was all like, oh, is this going to be all Assassin's Creed on me, and I'm going to have to like do all these extra things, and but no, it really guides you through it, which I liked. But I do understand what you're saying, because there have been a few times where I'm like, oh, I saw a bench back there that I probably should have gone that and checked it out, but then realized I have to go around the whole planet to get back to it. So it's interesting that they designed it that way, because it's like they're giving you the illusion of open worldness, but it really isn't.
I'd also just like to point out one more bugbear of mine. It's that it has the weakest pots in the history of video
You
games.
walk into them, yeah.
You just, like, your coat brushes up against that pot, it immediately shatters. I don't know who programs the physics behind those pots.
Jedi
It's-
cloth.
It's
Yeah.
the Force, man. It's the Force.
You'd think the Force would be holding it together. Anyway, if we had to give it a quick score, obviously not our full review, but I think we went pretty in-depth there. I mean, I really enjoyed the story, and it sort of went to where I expected it to go with the ending. When I got about 3/4 of the way through this game, I was like, I'm pretty sure this has to happen. Like, it's got to happen at some point, and it does.
Yeah, the payoff's there.
The payoff is most certainly there. But I wanted to know where you would score it, because obviously we liked it. As a game, I think it did really well to blend sort of God of War, Uncharted, and Dark Souls.
Yeah. Which are all great games.
But I still don't think it was necessarily better at any of those games in its respective
No, I
categories.
wouldn't give it a perfect score. I'd probably give it a 4-star. It loses points for, like, it's almost tried to take things from other games, but it hasn't quite like taken them all. Like Uncharted, I wanted to be able to climb onto that ledge over there on top of that building, but I just couldn't do it. And those were little things that let me down.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that look like you can climb that you can't. You jump and it's an
I think
invisible
because
wall,
I found
which is-
myself wasting time trying to jump on things. And then the other thing that kind of let it down was, it's if you're going to play this game, play it on a good PC, play it on the new PlayStation Pro or the top spec Xbox. I think it really doesn't play as well as it could on the original PlayStation 4. So
I would agree, although it is playable. While we're chatting about this, before we get your verdict, and I know you're only 5 hours in, Dave, so maybe you wait off on your score. But Adam Pether, your brother, says, I think the new Star Wars game, basically like what we said, went halfway between being a Souls game and halfway between being a Star Wars game. The Dark Souls aspect was a bit underwhelming, with the boss fights really not being super difficult and not giving that same sense of achievement. It's quite a long comment, actually. But, I mean, Jules, you actually said this before the game came out. It's that a lot of the villains just felt like, this is a spider.
Yeah,
this is a troll.
This is a giant bat.
This is that, Were you disappointed with
yeah,
the design
I mean,
aspect?
how about instead of the giant bat, they could have chucked on in a Rancor or something? No, I would have been happy
Rancor
with-
would have been
I
cool.
would have been happy with that.
I do have to say, I did like the creatures though. Like, I thought they were very Star Warsy creatures.
Yeah, but they weren't like unique in a sense. They
Yeah,
weren't
it was like, this is a Star Wars goat,
Yeah.
and this is a Star Wars spider.
Yeah, absolutely. You weren't ever looking at it going, ugh, what's that?
Yeah,
it
what
was
is
like, oh
it?
no,
Yeah.
that is their version of...
That's an
a
acid
cockroach.
spitting
true,
spider.
true.
Yeah. Oh, can I just say, you know how you hate the goats?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, those goats.
Oh my god, those goats.
What about the other goat?
The slug goat. Don't even get me
Oh,
started on the slug
I
goat.
don't know about this slug goat yet.
Half
but
slug,
that's gonna
half
be
slug,
nightmares.
half goat.
Good God.
It's
Good
it's on another
God.
level, but it's still not as annoying as the regular goat, in my
Those
opinion.
goats are...
You find a lot of those goats on narrow ledges, which is the thing that
Yeah.
gets me because
They're hard to dodge.
I would like to say though that I felt the enemy variety was great.
Yeah.
Given it's their first game in this series and they haven't really
Yeah.
built upon anything else, there's a lot there,
Yeah.
and you rarely see them double up in terms
Yeah, there
of
was like
worlds or
5
anything like
types
that,
of purge troopers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. That's it.
which was really, really cool. So props to you, Star Wars. I probably would give it something, I'd say a 4 or 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I still think it lacks in terms of the exploration.
Are you going to go back and do it all?
I don't know. Because I had a look, it's not that hard to platinum. There's nothing in there like you got to beat it on Grandmaster. I'm just missing out on things like, kill 3 people or kill 3 enemies with one throw of your lightsaber, stuff like that I'm missing out
Yeah.
on. But other than that, that's one thing. I found the combat a bit limiting, just with the 2 buttons. I know you have other ways of interacting,
Yeah,
but
it was still pretty good.
I thought it took a long time for my force push to come out.
I love the force push. I love when you can force push a droid into people and kill them. That's
Or
great.
there's like a purge trooper right near a ledge, and you're like, I'm not fighting you.
Nah,
Yeah,
no way.
absolutely.
There you
Same
go.
level of
I,
experience.
But I'd have to say, like, so far that I'm into it, I'm probably sitting around a 4 as well.
Yep.
The only reason I wouldn't go perfect is I think exactly what you guys are saying. It's taken, like, from all these great games that have done what they've done better. But I still think it's great, and I wasn't expecting, like, this groundbreaking game, right? I was just expecting a Star Wars game, and that's what we've got. And the Star Wars story is fantastic from what I've seen so far. The only thing that's knocking it back for me is those load times.
Yeah.
Have you
So-
downloaded the update?
Like, I must have. It's always auto
Oh,
on
one more
mine,
thing,
so-
a tip. When you finish the game and you want to go back and 100% it, put it on story mode. And it just makes it so much more easier. And it's really fun because you're just like this ultimate strong Jedi going around just through the planets, just hacking whatever. No one stands in your way.
Oh, on like the easy mode.
Like easy.
Yeah,
though.
I was like,
Just-
what other way is there to play it? It's
Yeah.
only a linear
Still-
campaign.
yeah.
But I know what you mean. Yeah, on just the easiest difficulty.
You feel like you've peaked as a Jedi.
Ah, yeah. Speaking of Star Wars, I mean, we can't ignore the fact that a brand new TV show came out
Oh, it's been a big week, hasn't it?
this week, Tuesday, I believe, with the
Well,
launch of Disney
we-
Plus. We'll
we
get
did
to
get
that
it
in a
later.
second. Yes, we were a week behind the States, but it meant we got 2 episodes right off the bat.
That was great.
Fish, you've seen both?
Yep.
Jules, you've seen both?
Oh, yeah.
I've seen both. If you have too, let us know in the comments what you thought of the first 2 episodes. And I'll start with you, Fish. Where do you think, or how are you happy with how this feels as a Star Wars TV show?
Very.
Very.
From like the first scene, man, I was just like, this is incredible. I'm just like
100%.
so into this, and I love the character. I love how dirty it feels. It really is like a Star Wars Western, and that, oh man, I couldn't stop watching it. In fact, I think I'll probably watch these 2 episodes again.
Definitely. Going.
And
I think this is probably the best Star Wars live action thing we've had since. Well, I think it's better than The Last Jedi. It's I don't know, probably
That's a big call, man.
since Rogue One, maybe.
it's definitely, yeah, it's better than
Better than
Last
Solo.
Jedi. Yes.
Mate, Rogue
Well,
One had its
actually,
issues.
that's a
Let's
good-
not give Rogue One too much love.
Yeah. Rogue One is up there with the best, but I agree with the Solo thing. This is kind of what I expected Solo to feel like. Like,
They've looked at the stuff in the original trilogies that the fans really appreciated and that aren't in the new films or new canon in certain ways, and they've kind of brought them back. Like, there's so many references in this new
Was
show.
that Bill Burr? Are we getting Bill Burr in this?
I hope so.
Oh my god! All right, I'm looking forward to that now.
If it gets better, it's the show that keeps on giving.
I mean, I've only seen 2 episodes, but I need more.
It's a strong start to the show. Do we know
is.
how many episodes it's going to be?
I don't think they've officially said.
But it has
Okay.
it's been renewed for a second season.
Yes, but that doesn't mean we don't know if we're going to get 6 weeks of goodness or 12 weeks of goodness. Mind you, the episode run times are very different because it's the first episode was something like 48 minutes, the second one was 32. So it really depends on the story they're trying to tell.
I quite like the shortness of them. I think it makes them snappier, and it feels like it's always moving. I just pointed out, I love those creatures that they ride.
Yeah.
Talking about
Those,
Star
like,
Wars
fat
creatures,
T-Rex
like,
things.
I need an action figure of one of those.
I want a life-size action
Well,
figure from
let's-
you, Dave. All right, we know that you love the ornaments.
It's sitting in the back. I'll sit on that when we do the.
In talking about little side characters, I mean, the droid that Taika Waititi plays in the first episode, the bounty hunter droid, is great. I thought,
fantastic.
in terms of droid design, probably the best one we've had since the original
so
trilogy.
cool. Yeah.
I just love the way it all spins.
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
exceptional.
Well, yeah, it's the same model as IG-88. Is that what he was from the original trilogy?
Oh,
That
yeah,
bounty
right.
hunter?
Hey, I didn't pick that up.
When I first saw the trailer, I'm like, is that IG-88? But
I love just the the bounty hunter coldness of him as well. Like it's kind of that Terminator feel of like he's just there for the bounty and it doesn't matter.
There he is.
It's not his thing. But speaking of Taika, did you think that was a good choice to have him play that droid though?
I think it's fine because you don't ultimately need to know that it's Taika Waititi, and I'm fine with that. And just before, while we're talking about side characters, I need to bring this up because people in the comments are already talking about Baby Yoda. Spoilers if you haven't already seen the show. This really turns into, I expected a pretty hardcore bounty hunter show.
Yeah.
What we've got
I
is
didn't see this.
bounty hunter and a baby.
Yeah.
That is literally the show.
but it's so good because it kind of takes the bounty hunter character and kind of like removes his armor so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it's
I would
just
say
like,
his heart is
the human
revealed.
side. of
we
the
won't
bounty hunter.
say anymore. But
I have to say, like, why has it taken us this long to get a Baby Yoda? I can't
10 out of 10.
believe.
10 out of 10 character design.
It's so gorgeous. Look
I
at
was
him.
watching this in like at midnight. Priscilla, my fiance, was asleep on the couch next to me. I woke her up to have a look at this thing, and she was like still half asleep, didn't really know what it was. She's like, "What is that? I need it."
yeah,
It is absolutely adorable.
I squealed.
It shook me because I didn't have any spoilers. I didn't know this was coming. And then for this to be the end of the first episode, it was a complete like wow. And I had a similar sort of experience actually because I was watching with my partner Beck, and our little baby Kit started crying at the end, and I saw it, and she was like, "Oh, mate," and I was like, "Ah!" And I was like rewinding it, and then I'm like, "Look." Right? He's so gorgeous. It's so adorable.
Who knew that Yoda could be so cute as a
I
baby?
know, right?
And also, talk about aging badly. Someone needs to get him some Olay, Revitalift or something, because he looks horrible compared to how he does as a child.
Well, he's a centuries old by that time. He's only 50 here.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder, like, how old was Yoda?
Like literally centuries.
Yeah,
I'm
He was
fairly sure.
3. In the Clone Wars, he was 300. No, that was Chewie. Chewie was 300 and something.
Anyway,
Oh, Chewie's
Yoda's
that
bloody old.
I think.
I love this thing.
Yeah, it's great.
If there's anything keeping me coming back to the show, it is Baby Yoda. And mind you,
When Yoda died, he was 900.
yeah, okay.
It's real, everyone.
But you know what? That's kind of weird. I'd love to, because Yoda was old when he died, like senile, and 50 years
200.
as a portion of 90 is like 1/18th.
He's really slow grower.
Yeah, but then he must just grow rapidly.
Yeah, maybe
he must
there's
go
a
from
point
like
when they get
infant
like
to aged.
when he turns 300, it's just like boom, old man.
Look, I absolutely
Oh,
loved
and
it.
disclaimer: this isn't actually Yoda.
No, it's
No,
not
no,
Yoda.
it's a baby
The
of
same
that
race.
creature. Yeah, of that race.
Which is quite interesting because a lot of the time people have, well, I feel like for the eternity of Star Wars, people have been saying, is Yoda the only one? Of
No,
his
because
race?
we've got Yaddle.
Is that what its name is?
You know, in Fallen Order, did you hear that part in the where you walk into the cockpit and what's the pilot's name?
Grease.
Grease.
Mm.
He's like, they're discussing the old Jedi Order and like the Council, and he's like describing, you know, the green one with the green ears and he's short, and they're all thinking Yoda, and he's like Yaddle,
Yeah.
Oh, I do remember that.
and there
it's-
actually is a Yaddle, and it's in the original trilogy.
It's a very throwaway line, though, let's be honest. Which is great from the video game writer's perspective to know that they went
Oh, so many.
that far in depth.
We couldn't go back. We've already spent 20 minutes on it. So.
We're going to have to wait another week. Actually, not another week from today. Another 4 days until we get episode 3. But look, everyone in the comments is basically saying 5 out of 5 for the new Star Wars show. So
Yoda
bloody
is
cute.
lifeless, man.
Excuse you, Rogue One is up there with the best, if not the best.
Whoop.
Matt, I disagree with you 100-fold. Also,
Really?
just because they lied to us in that, first of all, Cassian sucks. I'm not looking forward to that series at all. And they straight up lied to us in the trailers, where you see like Jyn walking out and you get this
The TIE fighter.
amazing TIE fighter scene, and you're thinking she's going to stand off against a TIE fighter. Just not in the movie.
Yeah, but you know what they did instead? They replaced that with an awesome Darth Vader.
No. You can't. It's not a replacement. It was.
Well, they basically cut all that from the film and then added this epic scene with Darth Vader. So
yeah, whatever.
It's a great film.
if they didn't have the Vader scene in there,
It's like, honestly, I would almost say it's my favorite. I don't know. It's up there. I love it. I love it. There's a lot of problems with it, but I love that film.
just
You and
out
I
of
are gonna talk
curiosity, what's
afterwards.
your
We've already
what's
had
your
this
favorite
talk.
Star Wars movie?
What's my favourite one? I think Empire is my favourite one, but out of the new ones, so since the original trilogy, I would say Last Jedi was my favourite one. If you cut out the entire bit where they go to that gambling
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
planet, I loved it.
Interesting.
And I watched The Force Awakens recently too,
Yeah.
in preparation for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Excellent as well.
Yeah,
Really
Force
enjoyed it.
Awakens is great. I really liked Last Jedi, but there's just a few stylistic choices in it that I just
Was the fight against the Praetorian Guards just way too awesome?
no. That's the best part of it.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I've refused to watch those videos where they point out all the flaws to the
Oh,
fight
there's
scene.
so many.
They always come up
there's
with my
so many bad
suggested, like,
ones.
here's
I've watched
everything
it.
that's wrong with The Last Jedi. And it's
There's
like
a lot of bits,
the
misses,
fights.
and yeah, it's
No,
it's-
I don't care.
There's
it,
nothing wrong
it
with
was
that
cool.
fight scene.
I loved it. Like, can you never just let us know your favorite Star Wars movie? So, I mean, while we're doing this basically Star Wars show,
Yeah.
I'd love to know everyone's favorite.
Now,
No judgment.
the
Probably
reason
judge
why we got to watch all these great shows is because Disney Plus has just
Yeah,
launched.
boy.
Now, I'm actually surprised because in Australia we get more content than they do in the US.
Yeah.
This obviously launched on Tuesday.
Yep.
It's $8.99 a month. You can get it for $79, I think, for
Yeah. Which I did.
12 months.
I knew. I'm like, I'm gonna keep this.
Yeah,
You
oh,
basically
yeah,
get 3
subscription.
months free. So.
I mean, just gut feeling. How do you like the app as the new streaming service entering the market?
The first thing I noticed, I'm like, okay, cool. I opened up the menu, started scrolling down. There's probably maybe 10 panels under the main heading. I'm like, this seemed really light. Where's the Simpsons on the homepage? Like, where's all like the grabbing stuff that
No, I got The Simpsons on my homepage.
It's recommended
I didn't?
for you.
I had to search for it.
Really?
I did
I-
too.
I couldn't
to
find
say
it
that.
anywhere.
To start with, I had to search for
I
it.
reckon they buried The Simpsons after that whole 4x3 versus 16:9 controversy,
know.
where everyone's cracked it about the aspect
I would have
ratio.
loved if I could have launched it for the first time, and then it's like, choose some movies that you like.
Yeah.
And you could just choose a few, and then it kind of says, here's what we recommend.
It was-
I would have loved that, but it was just kind of choose your profile. I did spend a bit too long choosing my profile picture.
What'd you go with?
Darth Vader.
I got gas.
It
I got
took you
gassed
that
on.
long.
No. That was like straight. I'm like, whoa, and then
I actually can't remember
There was a
what
lot.
mine is.
There was a lot to pick from. It was extensive.
We made 3
I went
profiles.
I went straight down to Beauty and the Beast and picked Gaston because he's all that is man.
I'm curious. Oh, I'm Buzz. I'm Buzz.
Nice.
So I've gone Darth Vader. Addie and Eliza have Olaf.
Yes, nice.
And Darcy is Judy Hopps from Zootopia.
Ah, nice. Yeah, Beck's Ariel.
That's nice.
I found that I agree with you to a certain extent. Like I had to go in because the 2 things I really cared about was The Simpsons and the original X-Men's cartoon series.
Yeah.
And I had to go and search for those. But once I'd put them in my wish list, all of that stuff started coming up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what you're saying. You were picking movies and things. Like it didn't know my algorithm yet, but now all that stuff like Gargoyles is on there. Good God, what a great show! Yeah, man.
I forgot about that show.
And I was watching Tailspin this morning. Oh man, it's like my childhood is coming out. I loved it. But I think the app itself is quite well organized. Like because you've got the Marvel, the Disney, you've got Star Wars, and it's all segmented. But one thing I really liked is when you go into search, there's an option that comes up with it's like Disney through the years, and you can go to the very first animation, Steamboat Willie
Walt
or whatever
Disney,
it is,
yeah.
then start making your way down in years in chronological year order, which is just outstanding.
It's how you would organise your DVD collection.
Exactly.
And that just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Well, I went to The
There's a-
Simpsons and we put on episode 1 of season 1, which isn't the first episode of The Simpsons, but we watched it, and it was the episode where they get Santa's little helper. It was kind of like really nostalgic, but I wish that the first episode of season 1 of The Simpsons was the first episode of The Simpsons, and it really.
It's okay. It's fine. The animation was so bad that no one would use it.
That
reminded me of
animation was
as a childhood.
track.
Is there anything else on there that's caught your eye? Obviously, the big ticket items we've sort of spoken about, but I mean, is there anything random? I mean, Fish, you've already mentioned some things like gargoyles popping up
Gargoyles,
that
yeah,
you're
right. That's-
interested by. Oh, we've lost our video.
Well, I have to say, the big thing that I've noticed with what is working for this right now, and I think why everyone's getting so excited, is that nostalgic factor. Because it is extensive, man. Like, I don't even know how far this rabbit hole goes. Like, I found DuckTales this morning. I was like, oh my God, that's what I'll watch tonight. But it's kind of like they've got The Mandalorian, and I actually watched The Lady and the Tramp film, which was
What do
really
you
good,
think?
actually.
I haven't seen it.
I quite liked it. But I'm like, is there the new stuff that's coming out? Obviously, everyone wants Mandalorian. I'm wondering how they're going to keep this up, and with all the Marvel shows and all that sort of thing, because once the nostalgic thing goes away, they're going to need to keep people's
They
interest.
really don't have anything like Netflix and Stan in terms of like, the latest crime drama or something like that. There's no.
See, I think that's fine. Because
I'm fine with it too.
I'm fine with it. I'm just
we all
wondering
have
where it's going to go.
Netflix, and let's be honest,
it gives us a reason to keep one of the other streaming services.
as young
I guess.
dads,
True.
are you getting rid of this?
Never.
No.
Even if I wasn't a dad,
As-
I
Yeah, I
wouldn't
know,
get
but
rid
I'm
of
saying,
this.
like, if you have a
But-
kid, it just makes sense because everything's on there
Well-
that they would want.
Yeah, totally.
More
And I
scratched up wrecked Blu-rays.
No, it'll always play. I had this. I was talking to Beck about it this morning, actually, when we were watching Tailspin, and I was saying, "Isn't this great? We're going to be able to have Kit can watch the shows that we watched, and we don't have to track down some bootleg DVD to be able to do
Yeah.
it. They've got all
vault is there.
all of the episodes on it. Like there's 60 something Tailspin episodes. Beck was watching this show called Bonkers, which I remember from when I was a kid. There was 70 or 65 or something episodes of that. Like you've got so much content now, and there's the new stuff and the old stuff. So kids growing up now can get a bit of both, and we can still be happy because we get to watch the things that we like.
Yeah, and just letting everyone know, so there's we can put a little disclaimer out there. There aren't a lot of original shows just for Disney Plus just yet.
Just yet, and that's kind of the point I was trying to make before.
Yeah, we've got
I mean,
The
we're probably looking
Mandalorian.
at them there.
Yeah, we've got Lady and the Tramp, High School Musical, that encore show, which I actually don't mind. I would like to watch that. I like the trailer.
It looks cool, yeah.
We've got a Christmas movie, Noel. I'm
looks
looking at the
fun.
Marvel Hero Project, which I haven't watched just yet. Like a Disney Imagineering story, which I'm really keen to
I
watch.
watched half of the first episode. It's fantastic.
Yep,
all
alright,
about
good.
Walt Disney and how Disneyland became a thing.
I love that. There's a Forky Wants a Friend, which I haven't watched
There's
that.
2 Forky shorts.
Yeah, they're really short. They're only like 3 minutes each.
Is that it? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I
But
was
it's got all those other shorts like Bow, like that.
Oh, I love Bow.
That's
Yeah,
on
all the
there too.
Pixar shorts.
All
Oh, okay,
the Pixar
cool.
shorts are on there. Another thing I really love about Disney Plus, which Netflix doesn't have, is the extras feature.
Yeah.
Like you can go to a movie and
Yeah.
you can watch the special features, much like you would with your DVD.
Yeah.
You can go onto the Avengers Endgame and watch a whole bunch of deleted scenes from the film,
Yeah, it's great.
which is great. It's like you own the movie, basically.
Yeah, which is I'm surprised it's taken so long for a streaming service to get to there, because they kind of have it on iTunes. You got like iTunes Extra, but this is where it is now, right? People and you're missing out on all that behind the scenes stuff, which was what made DVD so special. And of course, then you've also got National Geographic, which is
Jeff
a
Goldblum.
whole other thing. There's Jeff Goldblum, and man, I really want to watch that. Is it Free Solo? Or,
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. Apparently, that's great. But a whole, again, for kids or adults as well. But like, you know, there's the educational aspect of it as well. It's they've done a really good job.
Yeah, there's plenty for you. Before we rant and rave about Disney Plus anymore, we got a question from Selby Lynn saying, your little fan Mitch, aged almost 10, wants to know whether the Xbox Jedi Fallen Order game is suitable for him. His mum lets him play Battlefront because it's not gory and not realistic, but it's the only violent game he's allowed. Is the new game similar?
If he's allowed Battlefront, I
I'd
would
say this
probably
is
say
no
yes.
worse than Battlefront.
Like, there's a bit of dismembering.
Yes. We
Which
would say, I
might
mean,
be a little more
there
violent.
are a few
But
deaths that
not
involve
with,
a laser sword.
Not with humans. If you're fine with spiders getting cut in half and...
I would probably say yes.
10-year-old me would be like, yes, I'm playing this Star Wars game.
Just curiously, can you grab it? What is it rated? It just M?
It's an M.
Yeah. And so
Science fiction violence.
Mitch, if you've seen the movies,
Yeah.
I'd say you'd be fine to play the game.
Yeah.
mind you, it is a little bit hard to play, and I'm sure Mitch is very, very skilled, but
Story
maybe
there's
maybe
difficulty
the
settings.
easy difficulty setting is the way to go. But there's no blood or anything along those lines. So if you are heading into Christmas and you want to ask Santa for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, probably not the worst game to get.
Definitely
Maybe if
not.
you've already played the Lego Star Wars, I would say
Better than Call of Duty,
And
Mitch.
if he's played Battlefront, which is
Suitable
like
ones.
a fighting, it's a shooting
Yeah.
game. So I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much set in that fantasy space, Selby Lynn. So there's our advice. Now, before we move on to just what we've been playing, I suppose we've already spoken about that. But we did want to touch on a couple of other news items from the week, mainly that Google Stadia is out and it is apparently a flop.
I'm not running out and getting it.
No.
I didn't even know it was out.
Yeah.
Well, there's not many games on it, and the games that are on it aren't really exciting. Like, what is 3 Tomb Raider games?
Yes, well,
Great.
the one point I wanted to bring up is that purely they promised that they'd have more than 30 games at launch. They've got 12, and 3 of those 12 are the Tomb Raider games. So 25% of that entire pool of games is from the one franchise. I mean, that to anyone is poor. And I know it takes a long time to build those connections and relationships with publishers to make sure they invest time in putting their title on your platform.
Just in case you haven't been following us, we've spoken about Google Stadia a few times. It's Google's game streaming service.
Yes.
So you can essentially play these video games without a console,
yes.
without a high-end computer.
Instead of spending $600 once, you spend $30 a month.
Where are you getting a gaming computer
For the
for
end of time.
$600?
I mean, for like a console.
But that's it's an interesting concept, because I think it's probably where gaming is going to go eventually. But if you're going to launch something that's as groundbreaking as this, you need a groundbreaking game to come with it, right? Like you'd launch it with a Crash Bandicoot, like PlayStation might back in the day anyway. To just have a bunch of old games.
Well,
that
I
people
guess
have already
Google's
played.
downfall is they're not a game developer. They're not a publisher either of games.
But they have a lot of money, so I'm sure that they could just throw it at someone
Yeah.
and that publisher would do whatever they want.
I agree, Fish. I think it's a really disappointing launch. I think they need a heavy hitter in terms of an exclusive. I don't know if they're going to get it because that's just seemingly not their game. And if anything, it's given me more confidence in something like Project xCloud, which is Xbox and Microsoft's idea. I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Microsoft because
Totally.
they're one of the three big players in the server space around the world, them, Amazon and Google.
Yeah.
And they've also got the gaming know-how at this point in time. So
Absolutely.
I'm putting my money on them.
I can't imagine any of us are going to get Google Stadia.
No, not just yet.
For a very long
anyway.
time.
I mean, just to put it in context with, say, Disney Plus, the failing, in my point of view, is that not only do you pay your $9 a week to have access to the service, but then if every week you had to pay again another fee to watch whatever you wanted to watch,
Yeah.
it just
Yeah,
makes
because
no
you
sense.
have to pay for the games
Yeah.
as it comes along. That's right.
And then if you pay
Yeah, it should be a
$60
part
for a
of it.
game
Yeah.
and you stop your service, well, you can't play that game anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Doesn't make a
It's
lot of sense.
It's a weird
Um,
system.
Real quick, have you been playing or doing anything else that's not Star Wars or Disney Plus related?
Well, no, not in terms of playing things, but I do have some cool news
Of
about.
course. Oh my god.
Ashburn Waters news, which is the film that me and my team finished a couple of months ago.
Yeah, well, we've
Yes.
spoken about the movie before.
Yeah,
Showed the
We
trailer.
had the trailer up a couple of months ago, which was really cool.
We've all been along to the premiere and loved it. And I mean, you've been shipping it around the world to
Yeah.
film festivals, but we've got some exciting news closer to home.
Yes, a local screening is coming up. It's not until February, but Ashburn Waters will be playing at the IMAX Melbourne.
Like when you said a local screening, it's the biggest screen we got. Mate.
It's like, it can't get any bigger.
Melbourne's
It's-
cinema.
I think it's maybe even like the second biggest screen in the world,
Yeah.
if not the biggest at the moment. It's giant, and it's my favorite screen. I go and see everything.
We
there.
know every time you see a new movie coming out, you're going to see it in IMAX.
You go to IMAX, man. It's
So,
like
Yeah, well, congratulations. That's awesome.
no, thank you.
And
I'm very
we'll
excited.
put a link up on our Facebook page where you can get your tickets.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I
But
think they're
don't
already
get them
selling.
until we get them because we want
Want
to
the
get a
good
good
seats.
seat.
Yeah, we got to go watch it again.
Yeah, we're
of
gonna
course.
get in. Yeah.
But Fish, I mean, just for yourself, I mean, is there any greater honour that a movie that you started 7-8 years ago,
Yeah.
which you went into development hell for
Yeah.
years, eventually rallied around just yourself and the people that you needed to get this thing done before the arrival of your firstborn child.
Yeah.
Had another whirlwind crazy month there,
Yeah.
and now you get this sort of indication that it's not only doing well overseas, it's won awards, but now it's in IMAX.
It's in, yeah, man. I honestly, I wanted to go further, but it's like to just have it screen on this IMAX screen. That's all I need. I don't like I said, it's my favorite screen in the world, and not even for a second did I expect that we would be able to show our film there. Usually we're in dingy little back rooms of bars at film festivals, showing
Not
it
even
there,
when you're
which
showing a
isn't bad
movie,
thing.
it's just where you hang
Just
out.
where I'm
yeah.
hanging out, showing people on my phone. But it's but now it's going to be on one of the biggest screens in the world, and I just I'm still getting my head around it. I can't believe it. So it's the all those hard yards were worth it. It's this is, like you said, it's the ultimate vindication. I can't wait.
We are so proud of you. I can't wait to go watch it again in February.
So
Thanks,
Feb
mate.
4,
February 4th.
and the details are on the IMAX website.
Yes. Yep.
I understand they're
Nice.
in between like Star Wars and something else.
Yeah,
It's
it
your
was
film.
like, yeah. Well, at the time, Star Wars will be playing, so we're on the same screen as the new Star Wars movie. which
Yeah,
is like, what?
that's pretty special.
Very exciting.
Please give props to Fish in the comments. He bloody deserves it, let's be honest. And, mate, we can't wait to watch it again. We'll be there in the cinema with you.
Thanks, mate.
I think that was probably the best note to end on, but we've just got one quick question from Matt saying, have any of you lads had a crack at Pokemon yet? Have you bought it?
It'll be a Christmas thing for me.
Okay.
I want to play it. I've heard it's great.
Yeah, I've bought it, I've downloaded it, but once I finished Star Wars yesterday, it was literally between that and Luigi's Mansion, and I feel like
You got to do Luigi.
I could get through Luigi's Mansion quicker than Pokemon, and I gotta say, I've been loving that game.
It's so cool.
It's genuinely
so cool.
I've
fantastic.
asked Santa for it.
You've asked Santa for it.
Santa, hopefully he gets it.
Have you been a
I
good boy?
haven't heard any good things about Pokemon. I've only heard bad things.
Oh, really? The only good thing I heard was actually from Matt Cockle, and he when he booted it up, he said, "Man, this looks so good on the Switch."
Yeah.
Sure, it looks good, but I think they've taken the 3D renders from the 3DS games and imported them into this new game, so it's really outdated.
There's a couple of very in-depth, long-winded videos on YouTube where people go into the Pokemon company not spending a lot of money, given how much money they actually make. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. It's the biggest video game franchise outside of Mario, I believe, in the world in terms of sales. And they've got a team of like 200. Whereas the team for, the latest Halo game is something like near 1,000 people, if not more. And this is the game that makes the most money. It'll sell 40 million copies.
Yeah, totally.
Hire another 300 staff.
Don't doubt that at all.
But I think the one area which is more disappointing than them using older models is them using older animations. I could have forgiven it. A lot of the new moves look good from what I've read. Again, I haven't played the game, so apologies. But, for example, Tail Whip is still like your Pokemon turns around and it just shakes really? Two-dimensionally, which is a bit disappointing. So
I am like, why is this so hard? Like you said, these guys are one of the most successful companies in video game history.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, but I feel like every time we get a new console or something, like, I feel like we're still living in Game Boy era. Like, why are we not making contact with a Tail Whip?
Yeah.
It should be, the animation should be there. They do it in the cartoon. Come on.
I think the other issue as well is that a lot of fans feel a bit lied to, because when they were excusing the fact that there's something like 450 missing Pokemon, about half of the overall Pokemon are not in this game.
Oh, right.
Their excuse was, well, we have to redesign all of these from scratch because it's first game in true HD, blah 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 blah. Even though we got Pokemon Let's Go, but it turns out that a couple of years ago they recreated every Pokemon model to future-proof themselves, and they were basically just running them at a lower resolution on the 3DS.
Okay.
But it's gotten to the point now where
We've got past that
yeah,
again.
like a lot of people have hacked the game data, realised it's the exact same model as the 3DS, called them out for it, and are just a bit disappointed in that regard. So I don't know what's going on over there in Japan at Pokemon HQ, but really, they've got so much more money to spend.
Like, I get it, because there are so many Pokemon. Get rid of them all. First 150, make the animations great, and let's make a really good Pokemon game.
I guess that's good for us guys who only, like, we grew up with the original 150, but there's kids playing it these days who didn't grow
They're
up
connected
with
to the
150.
new ones. Okay, get rid of them all, start again.
Kill them all.
Have 150 new Pokemon.
Well, they do that every few years.
But only just keep that, and make the animations for that. I just don't understand why it's so hard.
Yeah, I don't think there's any... I almost want them to do like a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate version where don't give us any more Pokemon. We've got enough, right?
Yeah.
Just get all of them in one game together where it's a bit like Breath of the Wild. And I think that's the other thing. Like, this game does not look as good as Breath of the Wild. It doesn't run as good as Breath of the Wild. And that is a much more expansive game. So it's not just the graphics. It's also that, which, by the way, quick shout out to Luigi's Mansion. Whoever the animator is over there, best animation I've seen in a video game.
Absolutely.
Ever.
Absolutely.
Ever. It is like Disney Pixar level animation in a video game while you're playing.
And
just the way...
It's so seamless.
Oh,
yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And I think we talked about it when it first came out, and the lighting in that game, like, it all just comes together so well.
And you were talking about BD1 having a personality, even though he doesn't say a word. Luigi literally just stutters and mumbles in an Italian accent, and that's it. That's the extent of the dialogue.
He might mutter, "I'm Mario."
Yeah, I keep saving all of his voice lines on the Switch just so I can compile them at the end. But he said one which was a little bit, I don't want to say racist, but it definitely fell into the Italian stereotype, like a little bit too hard.
Really? What did he say?
I can't remember now. But yeah, it was funny. I found it funny. I'm not saying that they've done anything untoward, but I was amazed that was because everything's gibberish, but that was the one bit that they picked for him to actually say.
That's it.
Anyway, I'll let you know exactly what that is next week.
Just quickly, if you wanted to go and catch up on anything that we've done in previous episodes, you can go to our website, mustplay.net.au. We're also on iTunes and Spotify. Our latest thing that we put up is the interview that Fish and I did last week with the captain of Team Immunity, the PUBG player. So
Absolute champion. It was a
check
great
that
interview.
out. Yeah.
It was a good chat. Of course, you can find it on YouTube, Twitch, as well as on Facebook. Make sure you chuck us a like. It really does help. The boys, Everything You Need to Know About Disney Plus video did really, really well last week, so maybe we do another one for what we chatted about this week. Otherwise, that is our show. It's been exceptionally Star Wars heavy. We apologise for that.
I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Soz, not soz.
It has been Star Wars week, and we promise we'll steer clear of it until The Rise of Skywalker.
Until December, yeah.
In 4 weeks.
You get a couple of weeks. Otherwise, gents, it's fabulous to be back. I actually did genuinely miss it. So,
You know what? We're going to have to start talking about our game of the year soon. It's getting that close.
we'll,
I think Jedi might be in talks. I think it might be in talks.
it's got to be up there.
Yeah,
What else has come out this
I
year?
don't know. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, that's next week's conversation.
That's our show. Have a great week, guys, and enjoy the rest of your night.